And welcome everyone again to GPL 357, the preliminary final edition. We're a few degrees short of a full circle. We've got two of the greats here to discuss. Our regular panelists, what's going to happen this week. On my left is Scotty, the man behind the bar. G'day, Scotty.
G'day, Tony. G'day, Darren.
And our celebrity corruptible himself, Darren Carroll. DC.
How you doing, Scotty?
Guys, we've got on the table the two cups, the Premiership, no touching, Scotty, the Premiership Cup and the Knockout Cup. They're close enough to touch now. The four teams that are going for these really could almost sense victory by now. It's so close.
It's been a long campaign, but we're within, as you say, touching distance of the Holy Grail in both. And there's going to be some big games this week. There's going to be some very happy people and some very disappointed people.
There's no doubt the nerves will start to show, a little bit of shaking going on, but what we'll do is we'll talk about last week's games and the lead into what they've set up for the coming week. We'll go out to the course and have a look for some lost degrees, and we'll give you our tips for what we think will happen this weekend. So Scotty, volleyball played F Troop in the knockout.
Yeah, I finally got them. I finally got F Troop.
You've tried all year.
I've tried all of them. I've had a fair crack at them all season. Look, they shouldn't be too disappointed with their season, F Troop. I have been quite hard on them. It's just, look, the scores tell the story. I felt going into last week with the weather condition, I thought it would suit Wally-World, and I was proven correct with two great scores of 37 and 38 with their Tony getting 37 and Ben East getting 38. Their superstars didn't really fight last week, all of them, but 173 was too good for F Troop with 162 with handy contributions of David Fong with 36 and Paul Clancy with 34.
Yeah, so Mr. Sparvillis brothers, F Troop, they relied heavily on him and unfortunately came up a bit short. But what it does do is set up one of the great preliminary finals. Wally-World, who have been almost undefeatable this year, will be playing Buglers, who are everyone's normal favourites. Both of these teams have the chance to do the double, but they've got to get through each other this weekend. A little bit of history before I get your comment there, DC. The Buglers and the Wally-World actually met in the very first grand final way back in 2008, and the Buglers got up over the world that day, and they went on two different tenders. The Buglers went on to defend the next year to become premiers in 2009, and Wally-World went on for 7 grand final losses in a row. And it wasn't until 2014 where they met again in the grand final, and Wally-World had their worst ever score of 159, but watched the Buglers throw up all the way down the 18. It was just chaos down the 18th fairway. They fertilised it, and 157 is Wally-World's worst ever score, and that is what got them
their
the
first
whole goal.
premiership.
It was extraordinary. Well, now they meet in the prelim, and there's no second prize here. What do you reckon, guys?
Well, as you say, two of the powerhouses, the Buglers certainly a little bit stronger going into the finals. I thought Wally-World's scores were tapering off a little bit towards the end, but I don't know, the Buglers had the week off last week. The previous game in the grand final may cause some mental scarring for the Buglers.
The Buglers
Wally-World's sponsored by Titleist this week. A couple of guys with new sets of golf clubs that might shine out there in the gloom of winter. Look, it's a toss of a coin, but I actually think Wally-World's been 14-1 through the season. You'd like to think that they're going to make the grand final at least. So I think getting a score on the board in the morning, they may just get it done over the Buglers.
Yeah, look, Wally-World have been by far the best team this year. Look, I know Buglers have probably only lost 2 less games to them, but I think Wally-World have been out there the whole season and probably do deserve the star favourites, but they normally do alright this weekend, the Buglers. It's normally the following week where they struggle, when they're losing 3 consecutive grand finals, we believe. Or is it 4?
3.
They've lost 3 in a row. They normally do alright this weekend, and I dare say, with the conditions how they're going to be, the afternoon might be a bit better than the morning. Might stick with the Buglers.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting actually. Wally-World, for all their grand final losses, have won their last 2 they've been in, so they've obviously found a way to perform under the pressure, and the Buglers obviously, this will feel like a grand final for them. I don't think either of these teams are looking at the other side of the draw with any trepidation. So I think they both think this is their grand final, and for that reason only I get a funny feeling that maybe Wally World could get up. I do know the Buglers are wearing red, and in the polling used to wear red so they couldn't see bleed. Well, there will be a lot of blood on the shirts if the Buglers don't get up. Wally World, you've got a chance. Let's see if you can take it. So that sets up our other prelim. DC, Back 9 versus the Tridents had a chance, the winner to go through.
Yeah, look, as it turned out, the Tridents had a pretty poor score in the end. The Back 9 Mafia, the people's favourite team, they were steady all day. 333s, 35 and 166 proved to be good enough against the disappointing 157 from the Tridents, who, although disappointed, can take solace in the fact that they won the title last year and they've made it to the semi-finals this year, so they were still in it. They just sort of fell away a little bit towards the end of the season.
It's a pretty good defence when you think about it.
Yeah,
they just started to taper off. Maybe the pressure of it just got too much.
Just the last couple of rounds, they didn't really put a lot of high scores out there. Not many guys were breaking their handicap, but as you say, it was a pretty good defence. However, it sets up the semi-final for Back 9 Mafia against the Wood Ducks. So
this is going to be very interesting. Actually, both these teams, unlike the other prelim, are not renowned for being at the pointy end of the season. They both got, funnily enough, just the one trophy, and that's the knockout. The Wood Ducks in 2010, relying heavily on Alan Ingram, would you believe, in a winter stroke event, having 67 net, which was extraordinary, in 2010, and the Back 9 Mafia in 2012. In their previous form as the brothers in arms, got the job done. So it's going to be interesting how they both perform. If one of them will be in their first grand final, and it is, let's face it, nerve-wracking.
Yeah, look, as I said last week, I thought the Back 9 would have a bad weekend, and they actually did, but the Tridents had a worse day out last Saturday. Wood Ducks, look, all season they've been a touch off the top two, but they've been probably better than the rest of the competition, with their scores for being the second best in the competition for 2016. Look, but the Back 9 Mafia last week was their bad week, so I'm expecting to have a good week. This could be a very tight tussle, but I might just stick with the Wood Ducks just.
Yeah, the Wood Ducks, they're probably paying $1.02 at Sportsbet, but everybody loves the fairy tale, so Back 9 Mafia for mine.
Well, it would be a fairy tale if they got up, there's no doubt. It'll be a close one. The Back 9 Mafia have the ability to go really well when they fire. It's just, I'm not sure if this is going to be their week. The Wood Ducks, I think, on the strength just of the depth of their list, I think they should have enough to just get over the line, but geez, it's going to be close, and whoever wins this thing has a genuine chance to lift this trophy, and that'll be a wonderful story altogether. So as we do each week, as the nerves get jangling, we did go out onto the course to see if we can find a few lost degrees, and it's amazing what you find out.
Here we have Lex Tier of the Phoenix out here. This is the last chance.
The Duck.
Up against the Ducks. How's Dill going, mate? You got him under control?
Well, I started off with 5 ones in a row. Consistent, I'm a machine.
Sounds magnificent.
But I'm starting to fight my way back, and he's not putting very well, I can tell you.
Beautiful. I see you got the bacon and egg, mate. Fuel for an early morning. Keep going. And here we find the captain of Volley World. Geez, the weight of the world's on your shoulders today, mate. You've got the Volley World in the knockout, Back 9 Mafia in the knockout. How are we looking?
Terrible. This fall's looking terrible. To be quite honest with you, I think I'd rather be somewhere else.
Oh, really? There's Georgie Grossick. It's nice of him.
George is hitting good, but he's not scoring.
He's shown up this week.
Yeah, he got his driver tweaked by the Titleist man yesterday.
Beautiful.
And he's bloody flushing him, but he's not scoring.
Well, he's flushed that about 150 off the tee, I see.
And Gibby is completely disheartened by his less than good putting, shall I say.
Okay.
And
well,
I'm having trouble hitting the ball.
Come on, mate. You can do this. Big day for the world. Keep it going.
It'll be a tough day for everyone.
Yeah, it will be. It will be really tough today. Just got to grind it out.
Oh yeah, but I haven't got any fight in me.
Okay, well, see if you can find some. Good luck, mate. And here we have out on the 7th green. One interview, you, Bruce. I'll let you just go and simmer out. The captain of the back 9 mark. You're up against Wally World, the foes. How are we travelling?
The boys are going okay. Bruce and Greg are going okay.
How about the captain?
The captain's struggling again.
Here he is, the man, the curse of Scrapper McLeod. Is the curse going to hold form again today, you
We've got
reckon?
one focus today, and that is to beat George. So we're pumped to beat George Grosek. Isn't it, George?
Well, he's here this week. He didn't show up next week.
Apparently he only turns up every now and again. He's not a real team player. That's his teammates' fault.
So I've heard. See you, mate.
So no love lost between the world and the mafia, as you can see. Lots of passion amongst the two. How did it go out there, Wally World versus back 9 in the quarters?
Well, Greg talked the talk and he walked the walk. I mean, he had 35. He was the highest scorer for the Mafia. Unfortunately for him, Tony Averde's 37 and Ben Easton with a massive 38 in the afternoon, which took a 31 off the board for Wally World. Got them over the line, and we're still talking about the curse. The curse is only available in the Premiership.
Curse is only the Premiership. If they both meet in the grand final, that'll be the greatest test of this curse you've ever seen. This is just a mini curse. They might have just taken a Panadol, I reckon, that's all.
So Wally World too good, and that's going to set up a semi-final for them with the Ferrets.
Yes, I had the Vultures and the Ferrets, and the Vultures have been really Jekyll and Hyde all season. I thought they'd come good last week after having a poor round the week before, but
Who turned up, Hyde or Jekyll?
Jekyll, I'd say.
Who's the bad one about the head one? I think Hyde's the bad one.
Okay, we'll say Hyde. We'll stick with Hyde. Once again, players not showing up, disappointing scores all around. Very tough conditions in the afternoon for some of the older citizens of the team. Poor score, 147. It's probably the worst score they've had all season. Ferrets have actually had a pretty good last 6 weeks. They knocked off the Buglers, which was their grand final, and they could actually face each other again next week in the knockout grand final, with the Ferrets having a very handy 176. I reckon it's the best score of any of the competing teams last week. So good scores to Bruce Osborne with 36. Ian Toll finally back in the good scores with 37, and Peter Gilder back in town, 35 for those.
Yeah, the Ferrets certainly seem to be getting good at the right time of the season. It's been a while since they've lifted the trophy, but they have experience in doing it. They've got 3 in their bag. 2013 was the last time, the Premiership they won. Against Wally World, this would be a cracking match, actually.
Yeah, certainly. I look, and like Scotty said, the Ferrets actually the form team in the competition at the moment. I think they've got probably their highest amount of players for the season. They had a lot of games with only 6 or 7 players during the year, and they have been a powerhouse in the past. So this is going to be it's based on their ladder positions in the Premiership. That's not going to reflect on how this preliminary final is going to go.
Yeah, first versus 14th, but it's nothing like what the betting will be, there's no doubt. I think the Ferrets might actually sneak under Willie Williams'
I got the Ferrets in this one.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I better pick Wally World just to keep it in good books.
I would do that because you hammered them as well as that football, yeah. And the other one, DC, Wood Ducks versus the Phoenix.
Wood Ducks versus Phoenix. Well, I get the right page here. Wood Ducks. There. All right. We don't even. I guess the Wood Ducks have written last week off. I mean, 146. They had a few players missing. They had their eye particularly on one prize only. They weren't looking for the double based on how they performed last week. And the Phoenix towed them up. 169 to 146 was a shellacking. Phoenix with Caroline Streeter this week out with something to prove to try and get revenge on her husband in the Buglers. So I'm looking forward to that one more than anything this week.
It will be very interesting. The Buglers, Surrats, Scotty.
The Buglers, Surrats, look, the Buglers did what they had to do. Once again, the problem for the Surrats, not enough showing up on the day. They've had some players who haven't been able to play due to injury, long-term injuries they've had. Look, the Surrats have showed a bit of cheek all season. They lasted to the second last week in the the Survivor. We're pretty competitive most of the year, but the Bugle is much too good with Brett 35 and a good score again. Dale Streeter, I think he'll be the key to them in their quest for a double, and with 37 points, and Greg Madigan with 34 of those.
Yeah, Buglers against the Phoenix. Streeter versus a better Streeter will be very interesting to see. I could just imagine, guys, just like Napoleon himself, as Dale slips into his little red gym jams, he'll be saying to Caroline, "Not tonight, Josephine. Not tonight, Caroline," and I doubt she'll be too disappointed. I think they'll be focused on what's happening on Saturday, and it's going to be a cracking match. As much as I think the Phoenix are riding this tide to victory, they've come from the wooden spoon last year to now get to the second last week. It would be a surprise if they got over the Bugles, I must admit.
Yeah, but a solid season for them. They made the finals in the Premiership and to make the preliminary final in the knockout. In the preliminary final, you're 2 wins away from holding silverware. So on the day, if the Buglers don't quite perform to the best of their ability, the Phoenix have got some good players in that team who just might sneak over them. But I think the Buglers, for me, just.
The Phoenix have been actually very. They've been good the second half of the season in particular to get into the finals. I thought they'd do a lot better in the finals than what they did, but to get to this far in the knockout, they've done a good effort, but I think I've got to stick with the Buglers.
Well, there's one thing, as the rain starts to fall, it's going to be a bit of a wet track. But the Phoenix will set the score, there's no doubt. They mainly play in the morning, and the Buglers will know what they've got to do. And if they set a decent score, geez, I tell you what, it's going to be tough to do in the afternoon under heavy conditions to fire and fire well. Guys, it's fantastic to see. We're now 2 weeks from the big dance. The winners this week will play off next week. Thank you very much for coming in and giving your insights into what's going on.
And don't forget to book your table for next Saturday night's home.
That is very true. The table, the Charles Latrobe medal dinner coming up next Saturday night. As always, it'll be a cracking. We'll announce the menu next Wednesday when we do our grand final show, picked by our Charles Latrobe medalist, and it should be a cracking night. So don't forget, if this has been GPL 357, we're into the prelims. If you want to win this thing, you better turn up and play well. This has been GPL 357. We'll see you on the